When I woke up, the wind was coming in very hard down the Strait of Canso, so I definitely wasn't getting my canoe in, and really wasn't even going to be able to get a good cast in with the fishing rod, so I headed off down the road. Had to decide which direction I wanted to head, because there's several different roads that all kind of head up into the island, so I decided to stick to the left and take what's called the Ceilidh Trail. I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. And yeah, I really understand now what people were telling me about this island. Its beauty is beyond words. The road following the coast took so many little twists and turns up and down hills, in and around the little inlets and bays and harbors and coves, and so much of it was just this coastal mountain beauty. The video doesn't do it justice. No pictures can do it justice. This place is just unbelievable. So I'm gonna take my time going around Cape Breton Island. I marked out a few different hiking trails along the way on my map that I want to check out. Some waterfalls, some beaches. It's an amazing place they've got here. So much natural beauty that has been set aside and protected, and it's awesome. Lots of traffic though. There seems to be lots of other people taking in the beauty out here. Real busy in the tourist season, as far as I can tell. But I'm taking my time. I don't mind having people in front of me as I'm driving. The hills alone make it. So I gotta take my time getting up some of these hills. And it's just unbelievable. I can see even more than the mainland of Nova Scotia now, just how much this place deserves its name. I haven't been to Scotland, but I've been close over in Wales for a few days at one point, and the rolling green hills and the coastline, it really reminds you of somewhere else. It is somewhere else. Yeah, like Canada's so big that this is Canada too, but it looks completely different. What stays the same, it seems, from place to place is the people. They just get warmer and warmer the further east I go. Every now and then I run into someone just to have a little chat with, and it makes the day, really. Like, the wild natural beauty is part of what I'm out here for, but the people are what I'm out here for too. It's just, I feel so lucky to have decided to do this with my time for however long I do it. I don't think I'll be traveling into the winter at all, just because of the kitty cat, more or less. I know that in the camper here, it's well insulated enough that I definitely could travel in the winter if I wanted to, but and really the cat would be okay too. She's got long fur, but the main problem would be that the camper would have to stay closed up, no windows open, and to do that with the litter box in here would be a really bad time. We'd be able to manage, but it would be a really bad time. Whenever the kitty uses it, I open the windows up right away and light a smoke, because that part of traveling with a cat is everything you would expect it to be. A little bit gross, but I love her enough to deal with it. So we made pretty good miles up the coast today, because a lot of places we rolled through, I didn't really see a spot where I felt like stopping until we got to a place called Margaree Forks, where the Margaree River forks in two different directions. And there was a real nice little park where we stopped, where the local library is too, and yeah, it started raining, so we hung out there in the truck for a while, had lunch, and I was able to steal some internet from the library next door where we were, and caught up on the news a little bit and waited out the rain. It was a nice little walking trail. Took the kitty around a little bit, but she was most interested in trying to climb a great big tree. So I let her climb a little bit, but I didn't let her get up too high, because I knew I wouldn't be able to follow after her. But then as she's climbing, the rain came in heavy again out of nowhere, so she scrambled right down the tree and we ran back to the truck. There's all kinds of little places of interest along the road, and there's some of them that I drove past I wish I could have stopped at. I get it in my head sometimes that I want to make some miles, and then I see something, and before I know it, it's in my rearview mirror, and I don't want to turn around. There was a Celtic music center along the way that I should have stopped at. The sign out front said they had music at 1 o'clock, but it was only noon when I passed it, and I didn't really feel like waiting around. But yeah, my impatience gets in the way of some things that I should check out. Impatient at nothing. I got no reason to hurry. I got lots of time, but I follow my gut. I follow whatever that is that tells me, hey, get moving. So, yeah, this is the center at Margaree Forks that me and the kitty stopped at for a little bit. It was just starting to rain as we pulled off the road, and I don't much like driving in the rain when it's all up and down and twists and turns, so yeah, we hung out there for a little bit. And then, once the rain cleared, back on the road, and had kind of a false start here. I had my driver's side window open, and when I backed out of my parking spot, all the water that was on the roof of the camper sloshed down the side and in the window, so I got a little bit wet. I could have seen that coming, but I didn't. If I could start over and build the thing again, I would definitely put a bit of a rounded roof on it, or a little bit of a peak maybe. Because having it flat like that and knowing that water pools up there if it's raining, it's sealed well, but it's still unsettling thinking that water's pooling up there. Well, what can you do? It's built good enough, so I'm gonna keep going with it until I get back home, I suppose. Not sure when that'll be. Probably sometime in October. That sounds about right. I want to give myself lots of time in Newfoundland and then lots of time in Labrador and Quebec on the way back. I've set my mind on that now. I'm gonna take the ferry up at the northern tip of Newfoundland over to Labrador and come back through that way. It's gonna be nearing fall when I do it, so couldn't be a more beautiful time to check out that rarely seen chunk of Canada. So after leaving Margaree Forks, we were properly on what's called the Cabot Trail, which takes a great big loop around one of the northern peninsula of the island. So not too far down that, we headed down off a side road towards a nice little beach. Not sure what it's called, doesn't matter. Anyways, and took the kitty out on the beach a little bit and for a walk on the rocks where there's a whole bunch of rocks stacked for a breakwater that creates a calm little harbor away from what are some pretty massive waves that I could see further on out there. But when I took the kitty out walking on the rocks, it was strange. I had my eye on her and she went down into one of the little caves, sort of like she does, crawling around where the gaps between the rocks. But then out of the corner of my eye somewhere that definitely wasn't where she was, I saw a little black flash of something crawling in the rocks. And I knew that's not my kitty cat. There's something else out here. And then I looked down by my foot, and in the cracks of the rocks, there was a little black face looking at me, like a little weaselly sort of a face. I didn't get a good look, but I think it was a mink. The same as how out at Port Prim I had an older fella warn me, like, there are mink that hunt out in the rocks for shellfish and such, and I don't know, I didn't like thinking about the kitty tangling with a mink. They can be vicious little critters, so I picked her up and we hightailed it out of there. She was having a lot of fun on the rocks, and so was I, but I get a little paranoid about her. She hasn't had any shots yet, so tangling with a wild critter would be pretty bad for her. So we hung out at the beach for a little while, and then I was planning on camping there for the night, and then I saw a great big sign by the parking lot that said no overnight parking. I thought about just challenging that, sticking around and seeing who tells me not to, but then as I got looking at the map thinking of alternatives, I saw this restaurant, the Bellevue restaurant, and I got food in the camper that I could cook up, but I kind of felt like checking out this place. Had a nice fish and chips dinner and a local craft beer. It was pretty good. And then I used my time there also to figure out where I would go next, and pretty short distance down the road I saw there's a good little spot to park off the beaten path down a couple of side roads, and figured that's probably my better bet. That other beach looked like it'd probably be busy enough that someone might come tell me to get. So as it was kind of getting dark, I had to follow this bonehead down the road towards where I wanted to camp. And I call him a bonehead because this person was swerving all over the road, like going straight down the middle of the yellow line around some blind corners. Drunk or stupid, I'm not sure which, but I really didn't like following them. They were doing 20 under the speed limit the whole way, swerving, and Just not cool. Not cool at all. Yeah, I didn't like having to follow them, and it was real nice to turn off behind them down this side road. I had 5 cars behind me all lined up because we were going so slow, and now they can see that it was the guy in front of me that was the problem. And this dirt path that the road turned into shook the truck pretty good. I had to weave around potholes, but I made it, and the view is just spectacular. There's 2 other people camped here, and nobody, there's lots of room for all of us. I don't think anybody minded. Nobody came over to chat, but it's nice to have privacy, especially in such a secluded place. I ended up cooking up a pot of tea on the Coleman stove and sitting on top of the camper, just watching the light go out of the sky and listening to the waves. So beautiful out here.